Ever wonder if saints were more than just stained glass figures and folded hands? Well, buckle up, because today we're diving into the lives of 10 historical figures who prove that holiness and being a total badass can absolutely go hand in hand. From warrior queens to dragon slayers, these are the saints who fought, defied empires, and changed the world with grit and grace. Let's count down the top 10 badass saints in history. Coming in at number 10 is Saint Olga of Kyiv. Don't let the saint title fool you. Olga's early story is one of brutal, calculated revenge. After a rival tribe murdered her husband, Igor of Kyiv, she didn't just mourn, she got even. First, she had the assassins buried alive. Then she invited their wise men to a bathhouse, locked the doors, and burned it to the ground. For the grand finale, she held a funeral feast for her husband and had her soldiers eliminate 5,000 of her enemies. It was only later in life that she converted to Christianity and worked to spread the faith, but her legacy as a fierce protector of her people was already set in stone. At number 9, we have Saint Joan of Arc. A teenage peasant girl who claimed to hear divine voices, Joan didn't just pray, she led an army. In the midst of the 100 Years' War, she convinced the future king of France to give her command. Dressed in white armor and riding a white horse, she lifted the siege of Orleans in just 9 days, a feat seasoned commanders couldn't manage. She turned the tide of the war, inspiring a nation with her unwavering faith and courage on the battlefield. Captured and tried by her enemies, she was martyred at just 19, but became an eternal symbol of French nationalism and fearless conviction. Galloping into the number 8 spot is Saint Martin of Tours. Before he was a bishop, Martin was a Roman cavalry officer. The most famous story about him tells of a freezing winter day when he saw a beggar with barely any clothes. Without a second thought, Martin took his own thick, expensive military cloak, sliced it in two with his sword, and gave half to the man. That night he had a dream of Jesus wearing the half cloak, who said, "What you did for the least of these, you did for me." Martin left the army declaring, "I am a soldier of Christ. I am not allowed to fight." He swapped his sword for a staff and became a champion for the poor, proving true strength lies in compassion. At number 7, we meet Saint Moses the Black. His story is one of the most incredible transformations you will ever hear. Moses was originally the leader of a gang of 70 bandits in Egypt, feared for his immense physical strength and violent temper. After a botched robbery forced him to hide out in a monastery, he was so moved by the monks' peace and discipline that he decided to join them. But his old life wasn't easy to leave behind. One night, 4 robbers broke into his cell, not knowing who he was. Moses single-handedly beat them all, tied them up, and dragged them to the chapel, asking the other monks what he should do. He learned to channel his strength into fierce devotion and became a beloved spiritual father. Sailing in at number 6 is Saint Brendan the Navigator. This 6th century Irish monk was the original adventurer. According to the epic, The Voyage of Saint Brendan, he and a group of monks built a traditional leather-hulled boat and set sail on the Atlantic Ocean in search of the Isle of the Blessed. Their journey, which may have lasted 7 years, reads like a fantasy novel. They encountered crystal pillars, islands of fire-breathing demons, and a sea monster they battled. Most famously, they landed on the back of a giant whale, thinking it was an island, and even celebrated Easter Mass there. While we don't know how much is legend, many believe Brendan may have reached North America nearly 500 years before the Vikings. Halfway through our list, at number 5, is Saint Quiteria. Her story is a testament to fierce independence. Quiteria was one of 9 daughters born to a pagan official in Portugal. When their father tried to marry them off to Roman officers, Quiteria and her sisters fled to the mountains, forming a community of warrior women who fought to protect their freedom and faith. Quiteria became a master strategist, leading raids to free Christian prisoners. She was eventually captured, but even facing death, she refused to renounce her beliefs. Legend says she was beheaded, and a fountain sprang from the spot where her head fell. She remains a symbol of defiance against tyranny. At number 4, we have the one, the only Saint George. You probably know him as the Dragon Slayer. The story goes that George, a Roman soldier, arrived in a town being terrorized by a dragon that demanded human sacrifices. When the king's daughter was chosen, George rode out on his horse, charged the dragon, and subdued it with his lance. He didn't kill it right away. Instead, he led it back to the town and told the people he would finish the job if they all converted to Christianity. They did, and he slayed the beast. Whether you believe in literal dragons or see it as a metaphor for conquering evil, St. George embodies the timeless ideal of the chivalrous knight protecting the innocent. Entering our top 3, at number 3, is St. Catherine of Siena. Catherine had no army and no sword, but her power was just as formidable. Living in a time of deep political and religious turmoil, this dyer's daughter from Siena had the audacity to speak truth to power. Armed with nothing but her fierce intellect, unwavering faith, and a quill pen, she wrote scathing letters to kings, queens, and even the Pope himself. She traveled to Avignon, France, and personally convinced Pope Gregory XI to end the Babylonian captivity of the papacy and return to Rome. She fearlessly stared down the most powerful men in Europe and, through sheer force of will, changed the course of church history. Our runner-up at number 2 is Saint Ignatius of Loyola. Before founding the Jesuits, Ignatius was a Spanish nobleman and soldier, obsessed with fame and glory. His life changed dramatically at the Battle of Pamplona, where a cannonball shattered his leg. During his long and painful recovery, he had only 2 books to read, one on the life of Christ and another on the saints. He was so inspired that he decided to become a soldier for God. He underwent a profound spiritual conversion, hanging up his sword at an altar and dedicating his life to a new kind of battle, a spiritual one. He founded the Society of Jesus, a disciplined, highly educated order that served as the special forces of the Counter-Reformation, shaping education and missionary work across the globe. And finally, our number 1 most badass saint in history is Saint Michael the Archangel. Okay, technically an angel, but as the patron saint of soldiers, police officers, and paramedics, he more than earns his spot. Michael is the ultimate spiritual warrior. In the book of Revelation, he is the one who leads God's armies against the forces of darkness, personified by the dragon Satan himself, and casts them out of heaven. He's not a human who became a saint. He's a celestial general, the commander-in-chief in the cosmic battle between good and evil. His name is a war cry. Who is like God? In art, he's almost always shown in armor, sword in hand, with his foot on the neck of the devil. For unwavering strength and fighting on the front lines of the ultimate battle, Saint Michael the Archangel takes the top spot. From vengeful rulers to dragon slayers and spiritual soldiers, these 10 figures show that sainthood comes in all forms, and sometimes it comes with a sword. Who did we miss? Let us know your favorite badass saint in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this journey into history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more. See you next time.